And on a piece of dirty paper, he wrote, Katrina, aangezien jou klein seun nie plaas wil werk nie. Binne 7 dae moet julle weg wees van my plaas af. That is to say, Catherine, seeing that your grandson doesn't want to work to work on a farm, in 7 days' time, you must leave my farm. Wanted to treat me as a slave. You know, because of your behavior, we have withdrawn your bursary. How about that? You decide how you should pay for them. And so that too instigated me to become a real politician. Infiltration, he was murdered at Matsapa Airport in Swaziland. I say through infiltration. How did the enemy know that on such a day he will be landing in Swaziland? Called Spiwe Nyanda.
Yes.
You've heard of him?
The general.
What general? A lot of comrades died because of him. What saved me is because I was operative in Swaziland, where I was missed with death by gun 3 times, and once a flooded river.
In his history or his current politics, where do you fault him?
Who?
Jacob Zuma.
I don't fault him at all. Msholozi knows all their secrets. He has been the most effective intelligence officer tried, apart from Albertina Sisulu, was Ruth Mompati. But she's no longer there. That woman, politically, she was matured. You see. Although as a woman, she also had a child with Mandela. Yeah.
So Mandela was very good with them ladies.
He was a piece of rubbish, just like just like cereal.
Machine politically incorrect. We are back in the studio. Ritweri, a veteran. You know, it's always very difficult to call someone veteran. It's always very difficult, especially of Mkhonto Wesizwe. People would then think that Mkhonto Yamalobanyana, I'm already a veteran, and this is where you'll come in. You'll explain to us what's a military veterans. And I'm not going to go and ask you about the MK vets. So please tell us, who are you, your full names, how you participated in the struggle of emancipating our country, maybe where you were born, your school, everything, and then you bring it up to here. And then afterwards, I'm just going to throw icebreakers for you to choose one amongst the questions that I'm asking you. Thank you. You can introduce yourself.
I'm Kobati Freddy Lehoka. I'm born at Edendale, a farm between Mamelodi and Cullinan. This farm, Edendale, is a place where the indigenous people of that area were living until the arrival of the old mercenary, a Scottish farmer, who was given that place by the self-imposed government, which emanated from the Voortrekker Party. The Voortrekker Party is what later on it calls itself the National Party, and today the DA. It is the same party. This party was led by Piet Retief when they left the Cape province because they couldn't agree with the rules and regulations of the second mercenaries from Britain. This Britain I'm talking about is a pioneer of colonialism. Most unfortunately, the majority of the youth today know nothing about the history of colonialism. Well, in a nutshell, I would mind to highlight to you that colonialism means the process of leaving your own country, being armed, getting to other countries which you would benefit from, either mining, cultivation, or whatsoever, using the barrel of a gun. And so South Africa, which up to today hasn't got what Compol, that is the headquarters of the South African Chambers of Torture. This Compol is on Folkstem Street, the small street that adjoins Pretoria Street and Schoeman Street. Those who live in Pretoria will know what I'm talking about. And it is also between Bosman Street and Paul Kruger Street. It is a headquarters of the chambers of torture of the self-imposed government.
Which year were you born?
During the second year of World War II, which is commonly known as the Hitlerite War, that is when Nazi Germany attempted to capture the world, to have the world under its domain. On the 11th of February, 1941. As it is right now, I just completed my 84th year on this unfriendly country on the 11th of February. I'm now moving towards 85 years. That is to say, I'm only 84 plus maybe 3 weeks.
Uh-huh. You participated in the struggle of our people. In South Africa, we commonly known as the struggle days. What made you to be political? What made you to choose? So, just to give perspective, Chris Hani, Jacob Zuma, and Thabo Mbeki, they're 1942, and you were born 1941. So you are a year older than them. There are a lot of people who decided not to participate in our struggle. What made you to particularly choose that?
That is a question I've been waiting for. I didn't embark on the struggle because of the political propaganda of ANC nor PAC. But I was pushed into politics by track pass. The majority of the youth today know nothing about track pass. All what they can tell you is forced removals. Now track pass is the most hostile method of evicting the indigenous people of a country from where they've been staying by the mercenaries. You'll have to pardon me each time I will use the word mercenary, because these
Feel
people,
free.
Van Riebeck and the others, didn't come here with their families. They were armed and they concealed their deadly weapons by then, that is the guns, under a layer of the Bible. And they told our people blatant lies. When I talk of our people, I'm talking about those who were living alongside the Indian Ocean. The pretext, that is a legend they have used on having to land there, was they wanted a piece of ground for cultivation so that it should have fresh produce for the passing ships which were getting to India for trade. That was just a blatant lie. It was the side they thought of infiltrating for colonialization purpose Africa. South Africa means the southernmost part of Africa, and it is not the absolute name for this part of Africa where we are.
What sparked the enthusiasm to want to go into politics?
Track pass.
Track pass. Do you've got a specific event that involved you, besides you saying you are from a community that was moved away between Cullinan and Mamelodi, where it really affected you? What happened? Do you have an incident that happened, and how did you I just want that journey.
I have the most horrible incident. I am from a needy family. My granny was not working, and she had only one eye. The other one was infected. I don't know by what. I was too young. Her husband, that is my grandpa, was an expert in thatch roofing. Thatch roofing ke go rulela ka mabjai. I think we've seen quite a lot of houses with thatch roofing. I'm not talking of tiles or corrugated iron. I'm talking of grass roofing. And so he got contaminated by silicosis. That is an infection which is caused by the dust of this grass. You also get contaminated with it. It's deadly if you work in the mines, especially coal mines. While working for these people, he was not getting any remuneration. He was, unfortunately, this word is only in Afrikaans, plus werk, that is working on a farm with no remuneration, and working for the piece of ground on which his heart was hoisted. We didn't live in houses, we lived in huts. The difference between a hut and a house is the material out of which a dwelling is being built. Ke gore dintlo tsa mmwe e seng tsa di-cement. That's where we were. The majority of us, all of us, were living in such houses. And so, because he was now no longer there, he was called to the better world through that infection of the chest. The son of this old man, Mary, George, said, seeing that there's no one working in the farm, I want to go and find out from the widow who is now going to work in the farm. He came on horseback, being escorted by 3 dogs, a bulldog, a mongrel, and a German shepherd. A German shepherd is an Alsatian. While I was busy chopping wood to make tea for my granny, it was the first day of the winter holidays. He came without saying good morning. He just said, yeah, that's your Oma. Do you understand Afrikaans?
A bit.
A bit. Okay, I can give you lectures in Afrikaans too. I said, my Oma slaap nog. Now my granny had the voice of a white man. And she came out, still clad in black, mourning for her late husband. This George said, ja, Katrina, aangezien jou man dood is, wie gaan nou plaas werk? My granny said, ek weet nie my baas. Mind you, in the 40s, it was only baas and Mrs. Klein baas and klein Mrs. or Nona. There was nothing like you addressing a white the way you should.
What is Nona?
Nona, it's a female. A girl of a white man, it's a Nona. And Klein Baas, it's a young boy, a white young boy. That is Klein Baas. O Baas, it's an old man of a white. It's O Baas. And O Mrs. or O Noi, it's the granny. That is what the whole atmosphere was contaminated with. And we're not allowed to look a white woman into her eyes. When talking to the white woman, you had to look on the floor. That is an apartheid which some of us grew under. Because the white man will tell you, jy mag nie die nonna in haar oor kyk nie, net nou kry jy hondgedagte. You mustn't look into the eyes of the young white woman. You will soon have tendencies of a dog. That is to say, you would feel like throwing a word or two. And during that time, there was Immorality Act. And so they feared. You may think that she's beautiful. If I say 1, 2, or 3, she may agree, and that would lead to Immorality Act. But in the meantime, they had forgotten that. When come here, they didn't come with wives. They are the ones who were raping black women to make their own new tribe, which they called coloureds. There's no nation like a coloured. Are we together? There's no nation like a coloured. A coloured is a hybrid, a human hybrid. Commanders, hybrids are normally referred to animals of different nature. They are hybrids. Now, in human being in South Africa, they called coloureds. Coloureds are the hybrids. This is what it is.
And then what happened when the old man, when
George,
when the guy on horseback was asking your granny who's gonna work the farm now?
My granny said, ek weet nie my baas. And so he said, wat van hierdie ouetjie? And I said, nee, ek gaan nie plaas werk nie. I was in standard 5 by then. He said, waarom nie? That is, why not? I said, I still want to study further. He said, and what standard is jy? In what standard are you? I said, I'm in standard 5. Standard 5. He said, Allemachtig. Jy het ons genoeg geleer. Wat wil jy nog voor leer? You have learned enough. What do you still want to go to school for? I said, ek wil 'n dokter wees. Hy said, ek sien. Ek gaan julle trek pas ek. He steered his horse And he went back. They were not far from where we
What did he say? What was his response?
Pardon?
What was his response when you said you want to be a doctor?
I said, I want to be a doctor.
Yes, and what did he respond?
He said, oh, exceed. He said, oh, I see. You know, mockingly.
Yeah.
He said, Khanjela, trek pas here. I'm going to give you an eviction order.
Oh, okay.
He turned his horse, and the escorts were moving next to him. He trotted on his horse, you know.
Yeah.
And on a piece of dirty paper, he wrote, Katrina, aangezien jou kleinseun nie plaas wil werk nie. Binne 7 dae moet jy weg wees van my plaas af. That is to say, Catherine, seeing that your grandson doesn't want to work to work on a farm, in 7 days' time, you must leave my farm. I am responding towards your question when you say, what pushed me to embark on politics? Now, to go a little backward, when I was in Standard 5, we had one teacher, James Mahlangu.
Before you tell me about James Mahlangu, what eventually happened? Were you evicted?
I'm coming.
Okay.
I'm coming. This James Mahlangu was teaching us, he was our class teacher, and he taught us about colonialization. He was teaching us history and other subjects, and saying this colonialization is the worst thing, worst method of eviction. In the locations, it's a forced removal, but track pass, it's worse. Worse in the sense that with forced removals, the whites will go to a place, an arid place, like Haramot, maybe you know the place, Majani. Those are arid places. They are not good for cultivation of the soil. I'm mentioning Haramotse and Majani because for me to be here, I saw this soapy on one of my subordinates' phone when we were interviewing that young man from Majani. I know those places. I know them very well. My granny was sobbing. I read the track pass for him. He said, Booty, that's what he used to call me. You know, I said, but granny, you said you are from Majani. Why don't you send my mother, who was a kitchen girl? You must have heard it. Blacks never had man and a woman. It was always a kitchen girl and a garden boy. That is the era under which we grew. And then she said, oh yeah, but now how are you going to tell your mother? Because she is waiting. I said, no, that's old man Mazibu, who was a police in Kaline. I can write a letter and then get to the Tart Road where this old man was always passing. He was staying in Franspoort, towards Bavianspoort. And then he wouldn't mind if you ask him politely to please take this letter to my mother. As a police, he knew that area and knew the majority of people who were working there as kitchen girls and garden boys. He was a nice old man, even though he was a police during the era of apartheid. I wrote that letter and rushed to the tar road. He was always passing there between 4 and 4:30. And so when I saw his van coming, I stopped him. He said, yes, my boy, what do you want? I said, please give this letter to my mother. My mother is Martha Selamolela by then. We are in a problem. If you can, uncle, give it today. I was requesting my mother to come at home. My mother could cycle. She had a bicycle. Deer frame. You know what a deer frame is?
No.
A bicycle. I think it's high time that I should charge you. Bicycle ya bomme. We call it deer frame.
Oh.
Yona is not like the one for men. You know
a vertical.
That's correct.
It's slinted
you
like
see,
an
now we
acute
are
angle.
together.
Thank you very much.
You see,
Yeah.
my mother came the same day. She arrived at home at about 6:30 to 7 o'clock. And I narrated the whole story. My granny started sobbing again. Well, a pound had value by then. I was born during the time when in this country we're using pounds and shillings, not rands, and like we are using today. My mother had to find out how much it was from east of Africa by trade to Kekana siding. Kekana siding. A siding, it's a little station, not like Hammanskraal or Pretoria. Just, it's a halt where the train would stop, you find one person or two get in the train and it continues. There is a siding. With the will of God, we will get to that place because I want to see a few people. And seeing that it falls under Gauteng, we will get there and we'll do our job. You see? And so
that's how you left.
My mother agreed. Fortunately, it wasn't that expensive. It was £1.10, a return ticket to Hammanskraal. In Hammanskraal, the Slamolelas, the Carlos, and the Kekanas are our relatives. And they were the people who were most outstanding there. My granny, being the niece of Carlo, went to old man Carlo and explained to him that we are being evicted where I stay. You know, I grew up here. Who would like to come here and get us? That old man said, no, look here, Kati, you can come back anytime. We didn't even take 2 days. Then she came back by train. And so we had to leave before 7 days. That's how I got into politics. And so when I started my school in Waikol, let me first tell you how I left that place. Seeing that we didn't have a car and we didn't have money, we left on a donkey cart. We had only 2 donkeys and a donkey cart. Karikiadi donkey. I think we have seen it on several occasions. When I see this war with Ukraine and Waikol, I see some donkeys there. It reminds me of where I come from. You see, you know what a donkey is, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a very hardy antelope. You see, and so we left in a donkey cart. My mother paid for one patlamtlaka, over D3. You all know D3. Patlamtlaka, who had an old dilapidated truck, but it carried the paraphernalia out of the house to that end. Now I went there with Uncle Joe Selamolela. With the Selamolelas, we are cousins, we are relatives. You see, a donkey cart from Mamelodi to Haramotse. Haramotse, the Boers call it Leokral East. You see, we went there on a donkey cart. Let me not monopolize the stadium or the arena. I don't want to curb you from asking something more. Now at that school, we had one Mr. Makhobo, who was also a good teacher, like Mr. Mokwe. Incidentally, he was also very conversant with the history of revolution. And so he revived what I learned from Mr. Bokwe, you see. And he touched about ANC and PAC. And so that stimulated me. And then, when I was doing JC in Potchefstroom, there was Mr. Kunene, who was also a teacher, who was conversant with history and Afrikaans. You know Potchefstroom?
Potch, 114.
Pardon?
Yes, I know where Potch is.
Potchefstroom is the first capital of the Transvaal. You've got new information, comrades.
Commanders, we are learning. As expected, we are learning.
Yeah, but I'm not charging you anything.
Thank you.
The first capital of the Transvaal is Potchefstroom. And it is on the banks of the Mooi River. That Mooi River is really beautiful. It has vulgar trees, the willows, on both sides. And it's a fine river. You see?
Avoid touching the mic.
Oh,
thanks.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. And then when did you finish your school? And when does the time to cross our borders? When does the time to be actively on the ground doing political work? When does it come? After, during school?
Before even touching that sector, in Potchefstroom, we're now debating. And I always wanted to be on the negative side when there was a topic like the coming of the whites to South Africa is a blessing. I wanted to be on the negative side. And Mr. Kunene, who I said, if you remember, was also very conversant with the history of revolution. One day he asked me, he said, why do you always want to be on the negative side? And so I narrated to him how I left Edendale and went to Hammanskraal. And for me, not to have done my starting off of JC in Hammanskraal is because my grandpa, the younger brother to my granny, lost his wife the way in Potchefstroom. He was a linguistic. I belong to the pioneer of Protestantism. Do you know which one is it? To what denomination do you belong?
I don't belong to any. I don't even subscribe to any. I'm just a free
You're not
living being.
serious. You should, maybe you have just decided to reject it. Yeah.
Teach me.
A Lutheran church. Don't tell me you haven't heard anything about Martin Luther.
Which one? The German?
The original, the German.
Yeah, I've heard about the German who lived in
What
the
did they
1500s.
tell you? What is he?
He was a Protestant. He was the founding father of
He's the
Protestantism.
founder of Protestantism.
Yes.
He was criticizing the Pope of Rome.
Yeah, he rebelled against the Roman Catholic Church. And that's
Yes,
why
because in a Roman Catholic Church, you are not allowed to read the Bible. There's an extraction of the Bible, which they called the Missa. And yet, it is not the ideology of God. Everyone has got to know the Bible. You see, he was incarcerated, but unfortunately, they couldn't trial him. He wrote 95 theses. You must have heard of it.
No.
For the mere fact that you know that he he was a Protestant.
Yeah.
You should know that. Maybe you had forgotten it.
No, but I've not dwelled on his academic work. What I know is he's the father of Protestantism.
Yeah, he's the father of Protestantism. Yeah. And so, mo the Lutheran Church. But I don't go to church. I'm sorry.
Are you a Christian?
I used to be a Christian.
Okay.
I used to be one.
Okay. And then what denomination do you belong to?
I used to belong to the Lutheran Church.
Okay.
And I didn't find any other church to be better than the Lutheran Church. Not even the Catholic. You see. Okay. because of time factor. Now, the German, the owner of the area in which we're living, in Potchefstroom, the city, wanted to treat me as a slave. You know, he lived in a massive yard. There was a church, a big church, and his house, and 3 rooms where he would accommodate German students who were attending school at Potchefstroom War School. Only Germans, you see. And I had to clean that yard, a big yard. I had to clean it. And I had to clean the utensils after they had their supper. And then I had to go and cook for my grandpa, who my granny requested me to go and assist over that end. But he had no sense of appreciation. He sold me to this man that I should clean the yard and even cook. Because this German said, he can't net play me. I can't I'm sorry, I'm forgetting that you don't know Afrikaans.
Yeah.
He said, he cannot just stay here and attend school. He must work. And you know how much was he paying me? 2 shillings. 2 shillings, commanders, it's a 20 cent. 20 cent a month. And old clothes, you know, which even a baby elephant will say, no, this is too big for me. And I was a small boy. See, this is what we underwent. And so I wrote to my granny and said, enough is enough. I'm coming back. I was now in Form 2. I said, I won't pass Form 3, living under such conditions. I was at school. You know, I became drowsy in school when they were teaching because I didn't have time to rest. I had to study and I had to work like a slave. And so I left my grandpa and went back to Haramut. And so I was doing my JC final there, traveling on bicycle from Haramutse to Temba. Do you know this place, Temba? Haramutse?
Yeah, but I know the area. The area we are.
Yeah, I was
know the
moving
area.
on bicycle to that end. And the Hepula Enele, Noka Ela Ekletse, I had to go and take the 10 Kwaman Skral, go complex thing. It was quite far. That is what I went through life. I'm not an ephemeral politician. I'm a genuine one. You see. And I told them that I wish we could get finance for petrol one day so that Kabelu should drive us there. Get a young man what it is sitting in front of them. I want to meet that guy you were interviewing. He had forgotten certain important issues about that. Bodilo, Piobo, Makapan, Startable, Boss Plus, I all know them. And I've got relatives there. People over that end are most apolitical. And I was only concentrating on Metsamula, Ankama, Sepa, and what and so on. We've been drinking that water for quite some time. Then again, you see, but I'm still living. Which Masepa are not so bad. One another some calcium and other things. Lauta commanders.
Uncle, and how do you join active struggle? How are you recruited and how do you?
I'm about to get there.
Okay.
It's a pity. One of the comrades here wanted to cut my period. I can start my biography from Luanda to Dar es Salaam. When you leave Rwanda, and get further west, you get into the Atlantic Ocean. And when you cross Dar es Salaam, get into the sea, it's the Indian Ocean. That is what it is. Now I'm very, very near.
Bring it.
The late Mr. Keta, the principal of Ratshepo Secondary School, after passing JC, is the one who got me a bursary for having to do matric at Marion Hill. Do you know where Marion Hill is?
Down in Devon.
In Durban. Unfortunately, that year, the admin there have decided no longer to take children from the Transvaal because they said they are very problematic. Palwana, Batabana, Aditip, and so on.
Ish.
And so they referred me to Letlapeng. You ought to know what Letlapeng is.
I know what it means. I don't know where it is.
PEX Training Institution.
Oh, PEX. Probably known as PEX.
Yeah. I went to PEX. But unfortunately, I couldn't adhere myself to the Catholic ideology. There's a statue of Mary. They call her Holy Mary. Each time when you pass there, you've got to stop and make innominate patret filio et spiritui sancto. And then you've got to do that 30 times, 60 times.
So when you pass a statue, you have to do that.
Each time, yeah.
I mean, the basic law of a Bible tells you do not idolize
That is
statues.
why I say there's a vast difference between the Catholic Church and the Lutheran Church.
Mm-hmm.
Martin Luther was right, but the Pope was wrong. And so I was reprimanded and taken for punishment on several occasions.
Because you could not adhere to
I
idolatry
couldn't adhere
laws.
myself to that.
Yeah.
And there was also one funny thing. Lena Alice operation again. There was this thing, if you are a non-Catholic,
Yeah.
you must move with 2 Catholic students so that they should indoctrinate you. And I said, no, nobody's going to decide on my behalf. And so they reported.
So you couldn't pretend going there or you are a Catholic?
I even avoided the more Holy Mary. Early in the morning, 6 o'clock, we've got to be in church. Nominate Patret Filiet Spiritui Sancto. Yes, like. Before school is again, and we don't do that in the Lutheran Church. And so they retracted my bursary. Half-yearly holidays. Bakana gets there, they are remaining here because we haven't paid school fee. But okay, I'm on a bursary. But no, because of your behavior, we have withdrawn your bursary. How about how you should pay for them? And so that too instigated me to become a real politician. God, this is now oppression. It's adding to what I've experienced when I left Edendale. Isn't it you wanted to know from me, step by step, or King Edis or Komitana Lebom Sholos, Sholos JZ. We used to call him JZ outside. Or Krisani, they are the people whom I was working with. Here is it now, in a Catholic school. And Barry, I shouldn't behave the way I'm behaving. And so they retracted the wife.
So who recruits you? Who takes you out? And when is it?
Well, I left PEX ka diaparo tse ke di apereng fela dibuka and everything le diaparo di setse kwa. And so I had to look for work, or I should pay them. I was owing them 22,000. I got a job in a restaurant in Yabakariki. And so I was working like a slave there too. During the day, I was delivering, it was a restaurant and a shop under the same roof. I was helping a young man from Italy who didn't even know English or Afrikaans to deliver the stuff. And then at night, I had to work in the restaurant. They liked me because I could talk English and Afrikaans. I did my voorbereidende taal. Many of our black students don't know what that is. It's yet another advanced Afrikaans, which they call voorbereidende taal. And in PAX, I did Afrikaans A, English A, and Northern Sotho A. Where else in Potchefstroom, I did Tswana. I never had a problem with languages, you see. And so after paying those people there, they sent my trunk back, you see. And then working in a restaurant was not on my itinerary. I started looking for a better job. It was until I got the job with John Scott, a family shop. Getting there, they took me as a filing clerk. But I was doing more than a filing clerk. I was opening accounts for blacks, mainly teachers, nurses, and police. And then there too, I had problems.
Did you get your junior certificate? Or because you ran away?
No,
you were
I got my
chased?
junior certificate in Temba.
Okay.
Yeah, I was getting to PAX to Marion Hill for matric, for JMB.
Okay.
You ought to know what JMB is.
No. Tell me, please.
Joint Matriculation Board
Okay.
certificate. The only matric which was internationally accepted in this country. Gemeenskaplike matriculatieraad. The boss didn't like it. That is why they shut down all missionary schools. Not missionary, missionary. Many people confuse the two. Missionary is the schools which were under the jurisdiction of the pastors of certain church. And mercenaries are what is commonly known as soldiers of fortune. Like this group of
23.
blacks who were sent to the DRC. Those are mercenaries. They are not people who are serving South Africa. That if at all, we've got to get deeper into politics. You see. This is what it is. And so now, John Scott, there was a certain young man whose mother was working there. He was not working there. And so, on several occasions, the mother was stealing money from people who were paying on my department. And one time, she made a mistake by saying, Freddy, jou geld is weer kort. Maar hoekom, mevrouw Jooste? As jy sê nie eers Mrs. nie, jy sê mevrou. I said, ja, jy is mevrou, hoekom? I said, ek weet nie wat kon gebeur het nie. Maar ek het die geld mooi getel. By die kwitansies receipt. By die kwitansies en die geld was reg. Nou, hoe kom dat, as het altyd in jou hande beland, daar is iets verkeerd. How does it come that when the money lands in your hand, there's something short? I can't understand it. And she was not aware of it that after, counting everything. I gave it to the white lady who was next to me. There was a line of demarcation. I was this side, and then there was a board here. She was the other side. And so this running short of money was funny. I told Miss Van Mille, near Mary phone asseblief. Miss Van Mille toe gesê, ja poppie, wat is die moeilikheid? Hy sê, Freddy sy geld is kort. Miss Van Mille said, dit kan nie wees nie. Hy het my die geld gegee in die kwitansies. He gave me the money and the receipts. Should somebody please jot down what this gentleman should give me? I'm doing too many explanations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Miss Van Wieren told her counterpart that it cannot. I'm the one who signed for that money. Mm-hmm. And before signing for it, I counted it. You see? Mm-hmm. She got a shock. And I presume when she was at home in the evening having dinner with her husband and the son gave her a wrong impression that he was coming to beat me tomorrow. And so he came to John Scott and said, Freddy, kykie, as jy weer met my ma kan praat, asof jy met die kaffermeid praat, ek sal jou bliksem. You understand? If you can talk to my mother again as you are talking with a kaffer maid, I will beat you up. Did he have the right to come and reprimand me when that he wasn't even working there? He didn't have that right. And then my secretary said, she only saw me standing up, loosening my tie, and getting to where the side of this young man is. And I gave him a devastating right hook. He fell on his buttocks, and the urinary glands went loose.
Yeah. One knockdown.
Yeah, only one knock. Little like 10 people.
Yeah.
You see. That is how I left John Scott. And then I went about trying to think of a thing which I can make a living. I embarked on pirating taxis. I didn't like it. The taxi guys, I hated. They wanted me, after offloading people, I should stop in a queue and wait until that car, which was in flight, it's on my one by one. Karai, this is not my field. You see? Mm-hmm. And so I left that. I started pirating now. But my pirating was a funny one. I was taking people from Mamelodi to town, to Princeton Street. From Princeton Street to Marabastad. From Marabastad to Alexander. From Alexander to Diagonal Street in Joburg. Like a pirate area. Now one Mpimpi in Mamelodi, and Nkatleng fellow, said, hey Mal, Freddy King Karwa pirate. I said, yeah, I'm making a living. He said, no man, must no better come to go John Scott. No, he tell the thing went viral. And the manager was credit control. They didn't know what I was experiencing. Mm-hmm. You see. And I think that I rectify this is not my field. I started looking for an office where I can run agency of an insurance company. Yona plekela leasing ele office yaka. I didn't think of making it a funeral undertaker until when the former owner said, the undertaker, you must take it as an undertaker. That's where I learned the mortician's industry. People know me to be an undertaker or Mamelodi. I then continued working openly with underground recruitment of cadres. Are you conversant with the people of Mamelodi?
No, not at all.
Mamelodi has got a rich history. Now, how are we going to agree if you don't know Mamelodi?
I don't want to agree with you. I want you to teach me.
Mamelodi is the Sevastopol of MK. Sevastopol is the headquarters of the military of the Red Army, that is the Russian army. Most of the guerrilla operations which are telling, that is the sound ones, are executed by young men from Mamelodi. I don't know what type of South Africans are you people if you don't know Mamelodi. Honest, I'm telling you the truth. The 76 uprising, I admit, I can't dispute it, started in Wakoli in Soweto. But the army, the fighters, are from Mamelodi. Soweto is only bigger than Mamelodi, size-wise. But the heroes are from Mamelodi. Yeah. I can tell anyone, anytime, and anyway. Mamelodi. You must have heard of the Pretoria Campo Blast.
No.
Sure. Which South Africa are you living in?
Zuid-Afrikaans.
Commanders, I'm disappointed. You know nothing about the Pretoria Campo Blast.
No. Please teach.
Now, if I tell you about the bombardment of Robert's Heights, you know what Robert's Heights is? It's what they call Valhalla.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
By Lodium site.
Valhalla means a place that is not to be touched. It's a French name. You see? Ke kgona go bolela gore operation ya gore e rule ke mang, ya gore ke mang, and so on. But you people applaud and clap your hands, you know, for people who are just staff riders. Yeah.
Not about Vusikek.
Genuine. Uka angel, we take us an agaw.
Not about Vusikek. Ever is Dumani sama Mamelodi ke mang. Receive nyawana fela. Please teach us so we know the real history.
I don't even know him.
Who do you know?
Msholos.
Okay. Tell us about Msholozi, your struggle days. How did you go to exile? Who recruited you? Who did you work with?
After NBMP has told the SBs, you know what SBs are? Our woman. I'm getting constipated now. My SB, special branch.
Yeah.
Commanders, explain lang uncle gore my SB ke eng to.
Teach.
Special branch. Buslepe. You haven't heard of the name Slepe?
I just know what it is.
Hlubi.
Give my pudis.
Hlubi of Soweto,
No.
who was gunned down by Jabu Masina.
Please teach.
Slepe was the terror of Pretoria. O eliminate you like a unity.
You took
Then
him down.
who do you know who is a hero ya revolution in Pretoria then? Who have you heard about?
It's very difficult. But I know Kalush.
Who?
Kalush.
Kalush? Okay. No, man.
Change.
Kalushi Solomon Mahlangu.
Yes.
I took him out with Thomas Masoko and Themba Nkosi.
You're the one who took them out.
I took them out of the country.
Okay, tell us more. What were the
Okay, you
networks
ask
like?
me. I may tell you of things which you may not be interested in.
Okay, I must ask.
You've heard of Dr. Ribeiro.
Yes.
I've been working with him. He was more of a clandestine doctor than a medical professional. It wasn't for nothing that he was assassinated by the SBs. It wasn't. You see, I was working with him. Kalushi didn't actually fight. He was sacrificed. How could ANC send him to go and operate in Joburg when that the young man did not Joburg at all? The two other guys who were our instructors, Refilwe, whose father was a Zimbabwean, and George Mazibuko. Refilwe was the instructor of topography. Topography is military geography, and firearm instructor is one that taught us how to use an AK-47 and other rifles like the RPK, the PKM, the bazooka. Bazooka is RPG-7. You see, this is what it is.
Then how do you link up with your age mates? Let me just call them your age mates, the Hanis and the Msholozis outside the country.
And Cassius Markey.
And Cassius, how do you...
I can never talk about Chris Hani without mentioning Cassius Markey.
Please.
Cassius Markey is Job Taban, a very, very cool cadre.
Please.
And who, Deo Volente, I will be going with my panel to Rustenburg to go and see this hospital, which is named after him. Through infiltration, he was murdered at Matsapa Airport in Swaziland. I say through infiltration. How did the enemy know that on such a day he will be landing in Swaziland? When that, his starting point was Lusaka. You see, they knew the flight which was going to take and at what time it was going to land. He was assassinated with Paul Dikeledi, who was an agent of the press. What was MK?
So recently there's a huge debate on who were the spies and how difficult was it to identify and spot the spies, and what did MK do of the spies that they confirmed?
This is the most relevant question I've been waiting for. I am going to answer you indirectly. Do you know a man called Spiwe Nyanda?
Yes.
You've heard of him?
The general.
What general? A lot of comrades died because of him. And where is he at the moment?
I don't know. He frequents Swaziland a lot.
In what?
Swaziland.
No.
Where is
in Mozambique.
He stays there.
He's a representative of ANC in Swaziland. He's given that mission by the presiding president.
Cyril Ramaphosa.
Yeah.
Why? On what reasons?
Did you follow the history of Cyril Ramaphosa?
I tried.
Who is Cyril Ramaphosa's arch enemy?
I don't know. Please tell us before I misquote. Please teach.
Msholozi.
Please tell us more.
I don't want to give you an overdose.
Please, man.
No, some of these things are specified information.
And how did people lose their lives through involvement of Siphiwe Nyanda?
During the integration, where were you?
I was very young.
Okay.
Was
That's a problem.
Probably in my very early
Others were from outside, nearly killed him in Valmanstown. You've heard of such a place, isn't it?
On the N1?
Yeah, that's where the integration took place.
Okay.
I operated in Swaziland. And fortunately, he never knew where I was staying. And I wasn't under him. I had a unit of my own, the obliteration unit.
So had he known, you reckon you wouldn't be here?
Well, there are the people who were assigned by our arch enemy to infiltrate ANC, and they were getting paid. And on the side of ANC, they were using the operational funds, which they were not supposed to use, but to give it to the different units. You must have heard something about Modise.
Joe Modise.
Joe Modise.
Have
you ever heard that the boys wanted him?
We were told he wore brand woods and he lived lavishly in exile, while the rest of you were suffering, and hence Morogoro 1969.
Morogoro Conference.
Yeah.
What did they tell you what was happening there?
Well, everyone is called a general. They even called Joe Modise a general. It's you who are telling us.
Even Siphiwe too. He was the most senior front commander. Front commander is a commander who is in the neighboring states and who is assigning other units what to do and what and so on. And if at all a unit had to get 4,000 rand, say a unit of 2 or 3 had to get 4,000 rand, he would give them 40 or 400 rand each. But let them sign for 4,000. Siphiwe Nyanda. Because he is in the same category as Ramaphosa. Ramaphosa made him richer. You know, when you are what you call an international, that is when you have left your country and you're going to represent your country in another country, you are an international and you are being paid by US dollars. You see. There are people who are always in a comfort zone. He was nearly killed in Valmanstown.
The reason? Was it a skirmish?
It's a comrade who knew what he was doing outside.
Oh.
Yeah. Revenge.
Ish.
And unfortunately, I also believe in revenge. That is why I didn't want to integrate. And so I've been heavily punished, as it is right now. I haven't been given my military pension. Not yet.
Tell me, it is said of most generals, it is Chris Hani who faced battle, who went into warfare, who had battles under his wing. And it was him who resisted integration and especially disbandment of MK. Just tell us the little history of Chris Hani.
Who disbanded MK?
Mandela.
Mandela. Why?
Because of it was a negotiation token.
With whom did he negotiate that?
Well, from Victor Verster, he had that dream to say, I want this kind, a dream of having a rainbow nation from Victor Verster. to say, this is what I'm going to negotiate with my comrades. But for them to trust him, he had to disband MK, to suspend armed struggle, to put on the table that I'm suspending armed struggle, let's talk. This is what the Boers wanted from him. And he
That is
convinced
what the
ANC.
Boers wanted from him, and they got that. They got that.
Why was Chris Hani not happy?
They paid for that.
They paid who for that?
Mandela.
Who did Mandela eat that money with?
He spread the money amongst his relatives. Why did you people of South Africa not be surprised and ask him where he got all that money?
Those millions.
Yeah. I mean, you knew him to be incarcerated for 27 years, and all of a sudden he has got a lot of money. He didn't give him 200 or 500 rand and so on. He was giving them millions.
Uncle, it's very hard to tell. When Governor Mbeki came, when Thabo Mbeki came, when in 91 those people were coming, those people did not have jobs. Those people did not have anything. But the rich families gave them flats, they lived lavish lives. And, when they had that conference in 91, people already had money to fund their own campaigns when others did not have. So it's very difficult for us to know what happened in the 91 conference because, I mean, these were a bunch of unemployed people, but who had money and accommodation.
The trouble with the people of South Africa is you never got closer to people who were waging the struggle. You wanted to see yourself next to Mandela and the others.
Please teach us.
That is why today you are being surprised about what I'm telling you.
It's very surprising. I'm not surprised by what you tell me. I'm surprised that for many years I've been pleading with people who've got exile experience to tell us things that we know, but no one wants to come and confirm.
Look here, I didn't even know you two. I could have long come. I saw this the time when, that's the day before yesterday, ne? The time when a brother was questioning that a person of Majani. You call him Cooper, something Cooper.
Oh, Mini Cooper.
Mini Cooper, yeah, yes. That's where I saw you.
Yes. No, but I'm glad you are here. But
I've been telling him.
I'm glad you are here. I'm glad you are here. I spoke to combatants of Quito Carnival. I spoke to people who went to
Quito Carnival war. It's where the Boers were beaten off by FAPLA.
They say they won.
No, that's lies. I was telling another guy when I had gone to our hospital there in 1 million. Mm-hmm. They won nothing. General Detroit was captured. His fighting jet, was plucked off by the anti-air gun of the Russians in Angola. They never won anything.
They say they had more hits than you did.
Let me tell you the truth. You are talking to a person who was in Angola. And who knows with me, it's not a question of so-and-so told me this. I was there.
So are you telling me that Stratcom won? Are you telling us propaganda won that war?
Who is controlling the media in this country to start with?
It's still them.
Yeah, it's still them. And so they can say whatever they like.
Uncle, every year at Freedom Park, they commemorate Quito Carnival with people from Cuba and stuff. They'd hardly tell us the truth. I would go there, I would attend them, I would request them to come and sit there and tell us this narrative from the people who were in battle. They always duck and dive. What is the truth? Because we don't know the truth.
You're using the word duck and dive. That's the most appropriate word.
Yeah.
There are people who have been groomed to say this and not to say this. You see?
Mm-hmm.
You are not meeting with the appropriate people.
No, thanks. You
You
are
are not.
appropriate. Tell us what happened and
They
how
were
did it
beaten
start?
off. Listen to what I'm telling you.
Yes.
They were beaten off. And the Boers, it wasn't a war of the Boers and the Angolans. The Boers were there to assist UNITA because Angola is oil rich. Are you aware of it?
Mm-hmm.
There's still a virgin soil in Angola. Do you know what a virgin soil is?
Let me.
If you don't, I can tell you. I'm not going to charge you anything.
Please tell me.
Virgin soil is soil which hasn't been tampered at. Mm-hmm. There are areas where oil is oozing like this.
Just
That is why today America, which was assisting the Boers, which was reinforcing the Boers so that they shouldn't lose Angola, is now all of a sudden wanting to agree with the reigning president of Angola for bilateral business. America, the biggest hypocrites on this planet. Why do they all of a sudden want Angola? When that they were fighting Angola. They thought the Boers were going to conquer FAPLA. FAPLA is a military wing, and the ruling party is MPLA. I was in ANC, but MK. Don't be part and parcel of malicious propaganda.
Please teach us.
That is why I say, don't believe what I told them. Believe what I'm telling you.
Tell me about those Chris Hani credentials of having faced and been shot at and having come into South Africa and not wanting armed struggle to be suspended. And who are the likely people who took him out?
Who took who out?
Chris Hani.
Took him out where to?
Who took him out?
Okay. Who obliterated him from the surface of the earth?
Yes, not the actual
The
act.
orchestration was done by the hierarchy of ANC and the Boers.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing with Job Tabani. This is Cassius Mark. I told you that Job Tabani was the chief of ordnance. Do you know what that is? The person who orders competitive material from the gallant Soviet Union, from Russia. You see, a very polite cadre. He was not pompous at all, not like Mbeki. He would come to you and said, Freddy, are you aware of it that you're getting to the front? Well, with me, I said, yes, complete leader. He said, now, take this piece of paper and tabulate the material you would like me to get for your unit. You see, unlike Modise, who wanted to send me to Bulgaria for agronomy. You know what agronomy is? Advanced agricultural science. Because he was contemplating on taking that portion which he had asked from the Angolan government, which necessitated what he called a mutiny. It was not mutiny at all. You know that there are cadres who were shot down in Angola by ANC. Don't tell me you haven't heard that.
Camp Quattro.
Quattro is a prison.
Yeah.
Do you know where the name Quattro comes from?
For?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Quattro.
Cinco.
Yeah.
Cinco is 5. 50 is 50.
So, heading to 1969, Morogoro, it is
Just
alleged
forget
that
about it.
it is alleged that there were a lot of mutinies, and this is why who are needed to come and stuff. Were they really mutinies, or there were people saying
Fabricated mutinies?
so they could find a way of those who were protesting to be shot at?
Yes, like Quattro. You know what Quattro is? Number 4 prison in Joburg. You've heard of it, isn't it? Now, this young man from Angola, who were in the security, are the ones who called it Cuatro. You see, Cuatro is number 4. You see, people who didn't want to be part and parcel of the construction work which had to build Soweto in Angola are the ones who were taken to Cuatro. What saved me, because I was not going to agree to do that, what saved me is because I was operative in Swaziland, where I was missed with death by gun 3 times, and once a flooded river. I'm very, very fortunate. I'm still alive.
Did you
I
eventually?
did know I would meet with a creature of your caliber. When I say creature, I'm not insulting you. Anything that is created by God is a creature.
Thank you. Did you eventually know the people who were behind your 3 attempts at your life?
No. Oh, yeah. The only history that you know is when pirates is beaten by sundowns or something like that. Look at the Boers were following us in the neighboring states. You are talking about Quito Carnival. The Boers came there, and even in Swaziland and in Botswana. You see, it's not a question of knowing who were the people. No, it was the army. Here is not an individual who was following me. They were on operations.
Let's talk about Eugene de Kock and Clive W. Lewis and stuff.
He's the one who killed my brother.
Are you happy with them? Well, all 3 of them in Walus. Are you happy with them, with their how our modern day government treated them?
I'm not happy at all. Even the release of Walus, who released him? That is why I say you don't know Ramaphosa.
But also,
even Mandela, you don't know him. Walus was supposed to be murdered. What happened when that hypocrite said, no, we are over now, we are entering into the, what I call, into the democracy? Desmond Tutu. He was a hypocrite. He knew, Cyril Ramaphosa knew, Thabo Mbeki knew, they all knew this. Because Chris Hani faced Mandela and said to him, but Chief, how can you negotiate with these people without my consultation? I'm the one who's spearheading this revolution, which was the truth.
That's Hani telling Mandela.
Let me reiterate what I said to you. I was reporting to Old Man Mashiwo, the survivor of the Mendi ship, Comrade Chris Hani, Comrade Cassius Markey. Cassius Markey's real name, it's Job Tabani. The one whom I was telling my panel that, with the will of God, we've got to drive down there. Because I want the artist, that is that young man, to make us t-shirts whereby we'll be having the head of Job Tabani.
What answer do you have to people who said Eugene de Kock release and thereafter remuneration per month and the present visit of Thabo Mbeki of he met Jacob Zuma while he was in prison and subsequent release and
that is malicious propaganda. They are trying to tarnish the image of Zuma. They've been battling with this all along. They even smeared him with the arms deal. Have you ever heard of it?
Yes.
What was Zuma during the arms deal?
But he was in KwaZulu-Natal as a MEC or something. I don't know.
The person who dealt with arms deal is Modise. The Flushing man, and he was putting on Parkhampton and You name all this fancy stuff. That was Modise. He would drive from Lusaka, the capital of Zambia, to Botswana without any bodyguard to Botswana to come and meet with his associates from
Pretoria.
Joburg. From Joburg. He's not a Pretoria guy.
So was he never arrested?
He was never assassinated. What does it tell you? And in the meantime, he was...
But Luena, uncle, you were never assassinated.
Pardon?
Luena, you were never assassinated. Here you are.
Well, it's a pity you don't know my activities. I'm one of the fools who was too dedicated. But fortunately, with the will of God, I'm still alive. I wasn't moving in a car outside. I mean, a Ford Interceptor and a red one for all that. Red is quite conspicuous. You see?
He drove it.
Bonamo, yeah, he drove it.
Actually, the brand to trick the floor share.
On open roads. It's a pity you don't know Mamelodi. There's an area which they call Alaska. You know what Alaska is?
Yes, Alaska in America on the northwest side of the continent, North America.
Yeah.
Why was it called that?
In Mamelodi, we've got Alaska. And it was she who were coming into Mamelodi. Alaska is in Mamelodi, on that mountain, not far from Pietersburg.
Okay.
And it was she who would get out to come and execute operations. It's a pity. I'm trying to find out from you, who do you know in Mamelodi? You don't know a single one.
I know no one.
Yo.
But at least get about ke uncle. Get about nyawan. It's just something. Okay, what is happening to that Ribeiro building, Dr. Ribeiro? Is it a white building? Is it on what is it? What's the name of that street? Police station. What's happening to that building? We were told it's been vandalized or something. That white building there. Is it supposed to be a monument?
That is the one which I suggested to the city of Tshwane, that is the one which is supposed to be a monument. But city of Tshwane wouldn't agree.
If MK takes power in 2026, would you want to suggest that is...
If I would still be alive, I would.
What if you were to meet... Let me speak about Cyril.
To meet who? The only person I would like to meet on a tete-a-tete discussion is Msholusi. He knows me, I know him.
When would you like that meeting to take place?
When we are waiting on the response.
I heard your panel is working on it.
Yeah.
And we don't have time.
It's a question of they telling us when will they accommodate us.
Are you happy with the way MK has been received in 2024 national elections with 2,300,000 votes?
I'm not happy because we were jilted.
Okay.
We were jilted.
Sharp, that's number one. Number two, what do you make of people who, from the ANC of course, who label people like yourselves, who are
they don't like us.
Initial MK, but because you were betrayed by ANC, you went into MK party.
Into MK party.
Yes.
And I'm not scared of them. Those who were outside know me very well and the role I played.
Do you feel like a traitor? Do you feel like you abandoned?
They are traitors. We necessitate ANC to become a globally recognized government.
Do you?
I don't feel like a traitor at all. They are traitors. When we're outside, we're condemning capitalism and imperialism. And now today we are being ruled by imperialists.
I was speaking to Zwelinzima Mavavi. He tells me that for him it's painful because in the early 90s, those in the struggle for labor, Cyril Ramaphosa, Inoko Dongwane, all those people who have now crossed the picket line and be on the other side, they were both fighting implementation of value-added tax to South Africa by the apartheid government, and they fervorously, waged a serious campaign against this thing. His heart is sore now. He's on this other side. He's left alone.
Which other side are you talking about?
He says he's still fighting for labor interest with SAFTU, and the people he was fighting alongside with are now on the other side as aggressors, Inoko Dongwane and Cyril Ramaphosa. Now increasing that very same VAT, they want it to be 17%, further making our people poor.
Let me tell you the truth. Ne?
Please do.
He's a hypocrite.
So Just
like the SACP. You see.
But those people are the people who
they
helped Msholozi.
All what they have to do is to get over and join MK. They know what MK means to the people of South Africa.
But Zwelinzima Mavavi is not keen on MK. He spoke a lot against MK, especially Jacob Zuma, a person that he helped advance his campaign towards Polokwane 2007. And after that, he started mentioning points that he's not happy with. Chief amongst them is the 100% Zulu boy t-shirts. And he said that is part of idolatry and is dangerous for politics. That's Zwelinzima Mavavi. And I asked him in particular about one of the biggest resolutions of Polokwane was to take out labor brokering. And he said he's still disappointed with that. And it was after Polokwane that the ANC, of course, of Zuma, they dismantled the labor movement. What's your response for that? And I know I'm speaking on his behalf, and I'm using the anecdote that I heard him speak.
It is unfortunate you didn't understand me. I say he's a hypocrite. He only wants support because he's also seeing himself as a person who can lead this revolution.
There's nothing wrong with that.
They all know their answer. They all know what MK stands for.
So everyone must abandon what they are doing and join MK.
And join MK.
Even Julius Malema must do that.
And Zuma doesn't say he wants to lead MK. He says the people will decide. We are not dictators. We understand him. We have been working with him.
No, he says he will lead. And here's the constitution that no one must remove me from leading. That's Msholozi. Is it not that? That's what he says.
It is, but he's not a position monger. Mbeki is still, I'm sorry to mention Mbeki.
Please go ahead.
He wants to appear on the TV each time. And it's only people who don't really know who he is who will think Mbeki was better. Governor Mbeki, the father, warned Mandela never ever to take Mbeki as his deputy. But because Mandela was a dictator, he said, no, I have decided to do it. This things of he had a dream that he should do A, B, and C. It's all lies. The dream he's talking about is the pesa. The pesa is money.
Okay, let's talk about this. So I always ask people who are staunch Msholozi supporters, in the character of Jacob Zuma, in his history or his current politics, where do you fault him?
Who?
Jacob Zuma.
I don't fault him at all. Msholozi knows all their secrets. He has been the most effective intelligence officer and he knows who they are. They've already attempted to assassinate him thrice. We are praying that if they are to assassinate him, let it be after MK has taken over. Because the thing is, CIA, you know what CIA is? The intelligence of NATO is trying to work out means of eliminating him.
Jacob Zuma.
Yeah.
What do you make of Thabo Mbeki's alleged insinuation that Jacob Zuma was an apartheid spy? That's Thabo Mbeki saying so, telling the NEC of the ANC.
It's a pity we're not on the same bar. I say, Governor Mbeki, one of the clique that was arrested and incarcerated in Robben Island, warned Mandela. But Mandela, through the money which, whenever he had to meet with them at Paulsmoor and later on at Victor Verster, agreed. Even the wife, Winnie, the second wife, Winnie. You know that Winnie was second wife. Winnie told him openly that, are you selling the revolution? That is where now they advised him that, look at Joe Fro as older vets. Your wife thinks she's too clever. The best thing for you is to get rid of her.
Do you believe Thabo Mbeki and of course the clique of Mandela, they assassinated the political character of Winnie Mandela to take her out of leadership because the whites hated Winnie?
Yeah.
And they used the Women's League, for example, to disassociate themselves with
The
Winnie.
Women's League was divided.
How does that make you feel?
Miserable.
Are there any chances of having after Winnie, do you have any, of course, I won't say in your lifetime, because I mean we're talking about a long time, because if the chances now are very slim of having a female leader of a political party in a big political party, let's say the three spear organizations, ANC, EFF, and MK, of a female leader who's a potential president of South Africa. And who could that be?
Yeah, most unfortunately, the one who could have tried, apart from Albertina Sisulu, was Ruth Mompati.
Ish.
But she's no longer there. That woman, politically, she was matured. You see. Although as a woman, she also had a child with Mandela. Yeah.
So Mandela was very good with them ladies.
He was a piece of rubbish, just like, just like Cyril.
Yeah. He liked women.
He did.
Yeah. So, in the current day politics, the most senior female figure in politics, and that's the unfortunate part, it's Helen Zille. She's the most powerful woman in South African politics.
If at all she was not a white woman.
Yes. And I was interviewing a DA member who was sitting where you were sitting, and he was using the pretext that because she broke the Steve Biko story, it means she's got struggle credentials. And I said, nonsense. She remains a racist, and a lot of people will consider her that. And if she was sitting next to me, I will also tell her myself. And I said, well, I'm going to do a poll on my channel to check how far how far people believe she's a racist. And that poll is almost like 80-something people believe Helen Zille is racist. So it's going to be difficult for her to emerge as the president of South Africa without conniving, of course, with ANC.
Yeah.
So I just want to ask you, does it break your heart that we as Africans, we have eliminated the chance of other women of our own to become potential presidents, but the whites have supported Helen Zille to become one? If there's any woman who's going to be president of South Africa, it's just more likely to be.
Most unfortunately, I don't know of any now. We had Mar Shope. Apart from having worked, not necessarily with her, but having been outside and knowing what was happening whenever we had meetings and so on at Mulungushi or in Lusaka. That woman was very clear. But now she's old. I think she's 100 or plus. You see.
Would you...
Have you ever heard anything about her?
Well, I just... What I remember about her is the links with Zanin municipality being named, taking away the name of Zanin to be replaced with Mark Shop, of course, in honor of her and Shop. So that's the only link I know of her. All the struggle credentials of women we are told about, Bulili Nguni and others, not much about her. So I've not heard a lot about her.
Well, I know about her. The husband was once a senior representative of ANC outside. He was in, Mark Shop was in Nigeria. But the wife was clearer than the husband.
Say it again, the wife was?
Clearer.
Okay. She was sharp.
Shop, yeah.
She was proper.
Here I'm talking about people who were there for the revolution.
Why didn't the ANC elevate these women for us to know them? It's so disappointing.
ANC was highly infiltrated. When you know Modise, but the person who was spearheading the revolution, it's Comrade Chris, Comrade Cassius Mark, Comrade Joe Slovo, not Modise. Nobody's saying anything about Joe Slovo.
You are a linguist of some sort because you love languages and you are well versed, very articulate in various languages. I had a criticism from Julius Malema the other day saying, why can't Joe Slovo, having been in exile and having been with MP...
Not only in exile.
Yeah.
I say the most telling operations were designed by him.
Yes. So...
And the cadres who acted positively are the cadres from Mamelodi.
Yes. So Malema says, if you were so embedded with our cadres at the time, why couldn't Joe Slovo speak isiZulu, Xhosa, or any of those languages? And of course, Professor Ben Turok. Do you know of them speaking any vernacular languages? Ben Turok or Joe Slovo?
Why are you not saying anything about Rodney Casserel?
Yeah, Rodney Casserel, did he speak? Tell us if he did, it will be a good counter from what Malema say.
He was an implant and he was there to destroy Msholozi. He and Thabo Mbeki partnered. So
you think, let's speak about Kwezi. Did you think the young lady Kwezi was planted as a honey trap to ensnare Msholozi into sleeping with her so they could have a campaign against Msholozi?
That is why I'm saying that I say all cases against Msholozi were orchestrated within ANC. They were orchestrated. I'm repeating that. They were orchestrated. Can the people here in South Africa come to reason that why when having to get to court, those people never appeared? That woman was siphoned out of Africa and was placed in London. Why can the people here at home come to reason about it? There was no rape case at all. They were scared of the repercussions.
Do you believe ANC owns the struggle? I'm saying so because if you were to live your struggle days, they want you to live with everything. Like when you were leaving PAX, they said, Tsamaya, because they were not even going to give you your books. So they want you to live and not take the MK name, not take Congress of the People, not take anything that associates you with the struggle. Go and form a new thing because they wanted Msholozi to start a new party that has no links to the struggle. Meaning, in other words, they're stripping him of all his struggle credentials and they want him to leave it at ANC. Do you think that is fair?
Most unfair. Most unfair. They wanted to strap Msholozi naked.
So he can be a single man who would start everything down, as if he did not participate, he did not spend his whole
life. As a matter of fact, their main aim was to eliminate him.
Ish.
You see? What else you want to know?
For now, allow me to say thank you very much for coming. We will do part 2 one other day when you are fresh, because your days are still borrowed. I will from time to time come and visit you, or you come and visit me, so you could teach us more.
Anything you want to visit me, or will be coming to Mamelodi?
Actually, you want to teach me Mamelodi? I'll be coming to Flaga just to know.
Yeah, so unfortunately, you know nothing about Mamelodi.
That's why I want to come for lessons, Agir. Guys, I'm no longer knowing cake.
Just get out of him and come and see my panel.
No, I'll contact your panel. Will come. If I don't come to Mamelodi, maybe we'll meet somewhere. I can listen to where your campaigns are. Maybe I'll come because I've learned a lot, and I know I'm not the only one who has learned. I've learned a lot, but now we are out of resources, and I know it's very difficult for you to close, but give it 30 seconds to close for us.
Commanders, I say over to you.
Over to you. Comrades, anything you want to say in closing? Uncle Fred.
Not really.
Okay.
I think maybe part 2 will be much more interesting.
Okay, because you don't chat with buyer, ne?
Part 2.
Okay, Mashani, politically incorrect, signing out. Thank you. 8.